Hey there, I would like to think of this channel a little bit different to most channels out there as I speak from the heart and I share insights in a positive way with one main goal, that when you play, not only are you talented and confident enough behind the decks, but you also know what it takes to assure that all your shows are really successful. Now, in this video, I'm going to give you a golden tip that is so obvious that many people often overlook it. So anyway, have I got your attention yet? Okay, so let's do it. So the number one thing that will make your sets go down in history is atmosphere. Now, see, here's the thing. This is where everyone goes wrong. See, what happens? They get their show, okay? They put 100% of their focus and their effort on the music and putting together the best playlist ever and all that. But what happens is when they turn up to play, sometimes music is not enough. So in this video, I'm going to give you some very practical advice on how to assure that every single show you play goes down in history. Now, sure, I've done videos in the past about atmosphere and bringing your friends and blah, 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 right? But in this video, I want to talk more about production, okay? Now, production, it's so often overlooked and it can add so much to your set, and it's a way that you can really stand out. And what I mean by production is not only like your setup and the speakers and stuff, and I did a video a few weeks back about speakers for house parties and everything, so check that out. But I'm talking about now lighting and the ambience and feeling you can create in the space that you're playing. So keep watching as I'm going to tell you how to assure amazing production when you play, like pretty much for house parties to mini events to even assuring your club shows are huge post-COVID. So let's start with house parties. So let's face it, if you set up your DJ gear in a corner and think good music is going to be enough to make everyone run to the dance floor, think again. See, here's the thing, you need to make the space that you're playing another world that people feel drawn to. And this means making sure that the area that you're playing, it has a ton of atmosphere. Now, loads of people cheap out on this and I've done this in the past too, they just take a single party light that moves automatically with the music. And yes, this is better than nothing. But the more you put into the production, right, the more your sets are going to be remembered, period. So personally, I feel production needs to be brought forward in everyone's priorities. See, without it, it's like the cake without the icing. So just a quick example before I jump in. So I have this fire pit in my backyard, right? And sometimes when I have friends over, sure, the fire's enough, right? But I like going a little bit further, just making it really cool and putting some LED park hands all around the backyard, like underneath and pointing up big trees, making all the trees different colors. And I put some fairy lights like on the roof going out there and stuff into the backyard. And anyway, and that means then when my friends arrive, they walk outside and it's just like, not only is there the fire, like that's the cake, right? Like the centerpiece, but then with cool beats going and the whole backyard lit up, it honestly looks like something out of a fairy tale and people are blown away and it just creates a really cool tone for the night. And see, here's the thing, if that's the kind of effort I go to for a fire pit party, right, then imagine the effort that you could go to for your DJ sets. And it's just a way about looking at everything, you know, even when you sit down and chill out, make the lighting kind of cool. But anyway, so yes, a couple of moving heads will do wonders, or even a couple of LED bars. But then you could even add fairy lights. I like them, like they're always super cheap and they create like a magical kind of vibe. And if you really want to create ambience, I would always head for my park hands, and you can just put them around the room. And if outdoors, up trees and plants, it's really cool. Now, sure, to buy a setup like this could cost $1,000, and the advantage is then it's yours for life. Otherwise, there is heaps of places you can rent little lighting kits from, and you could easily get like 2 moving heads, 4 park hands and a smoke machine for under $200 right now. Either way, by putting a little bit of effort into assuring there's a vibe in the area that you're playing, it's going to contribute to the atmosphere 1,000-fold, and it's going to draw people to the floor as the area that you're playing, it looks fun, as opposed to just setting up your gear in a corner, right? And wondering why so many people are walking past going, yeah, man, cool, man, like good music, but they keep walking past because they want to go to where they feel the atmosphere is. Maybe the fire pit, just pulling over because your area is just kind of boring maybe. Now, so here's the thing, if you really want to take the atmosphere to the next level though, you could even bring in UV lights or add some gimmicks like maybe a bubble machine, right? Or even get UV bubble liquid and UV lights so the bubbles glow and the dance floor becomes this like magical UV bubble show. Or even get some UV paint into the picture and have painting areas where people can paint themselves with UV paint. And then when they go under the UV lights, which are all positioned around the dance floor, they come on the dance floor and they glow, right? Now, I used to do UV parties at some of the more commercial clubs I ran, and I'll be honest, they were insane and they always packed out. And even though it may sound lame, it brings out the inner child in people, and everyone had such a good time. And those parties, they were so memorable, man. Like they were crazy, right? And more than that, because the UV lights are all positioned on the dance floor, it made the dance floor a wonderland, and it kept people on the floor dancing all night. And full effortless dance floors is honestly a dream for any DJ. And the good news is, people will associate the atmosphere to you and your DJing and put down the parties that you throw and that you're involved with as the best around, which in turn helps build more awareness around you, builds your profile, and assures more people there to support you when you play. So it really is win-win. Now, let's say though, okay, post-COVID, you've got a club set up. Now, my advice, if you can, go to the venue and do some research and see what kind of lighting they have there, and see if the venue's got their lighting like hooked up to, like, maybe it's on auto and it moves with the music, or maybe there's a DMX controller, or perhaps they've used a computer to control the presets. Now, this means when you hit certain buttons, say on the DMX or on the computer's keyboard, the lights do different things and move at different speeds. Now, if you can get someone, right, to control the lights while you play, this is honestly huge. And I remember when I used to play, okay, every week, I would turn up and no other DJ would even think about asking for control of the lights. So they're just all on focus. They're just all on auto. I mean, they're more focused about what they're going to play. So up until I played, the lights were on auto, which means the lights weren't really, they're working at minimum capacity, and it kind of felt like more of the same and no one really noticed. But then when I'd come on, I'd make it a big deal, okay? And I'd come in with some really big track to let people know I'm there. But then what I'd usually do is black out the lights, get some smoke in the air, and then start building my lights with the music, incorporating strobes and cool effects that move with the climaxes with each track. And all in all, this created such an amazing energy on the dance floor, which really helped the atmosphere 1,000-fold. And it honestly had people raving about my sets. And in turn, this built my fan base and the events, because they were my events too, so I was running them. So it built the atmosphere. People loved it, man. They were huge. Now, so all I'm saying is being a great DJ is more than the tracks that you select and how you mix them. Now, sure, those skills are necessary, but if you truly want to be noticed, you need to step that up a notch. And that means, yes, you want to put together killer sets that have people raving, but you also want to assure quality production, making your sets the talk of the town, okay? So anyway, like plane goes over, anyway. So next time you have a set planned, it could be a house party, a function, or some kind of even like you're playing at a club, right? Ask yourself, what kind of production will be there? And if they have none, perhaps you could speak with the person running the party and just let them know that you're emotionally invested in the events that you play, and you want to do everything you can to make certain that the parties you're involved with are amazing, like people are raving about them, right? And let them know that production isn't important, like it's an important part of that. Now, you could even suggest that if they're willing to spend a little bit extra, you could organize it all for them. So that means if you bought your own kit, perhaps this could be something that you include in your package price. And that also gives you a way to raise your prices, right? So for instance, let's say you're willing to play a party for let's say $300, right? Perhaps with full production, it could be $500. And this way, right, that $1,000 investment you made upfront for your lighting rig could be paid off after a few shows, and then you have that set up for life. Now, trust me, right, the extra effort will be well worth it, and word of mouth is going to spread around you and your shows. So you're going to have this level of professionalism that people are going to be lining up for that, man, because no one does it. See, because at the end of the day, being a successful DJ is all about atmosphere. And the bigger the atmosphere in the room, the more people are going to be talking about it, right? And the more people talking about you and the sets that you play, the more shows you're going to get. And when you get those shows, you will go from being that DJ standing in the corner doing nothing to being the one that they're raving about you, man. And they know who you are. And better yet, people when you start playing, people are going to start going there for you because you have a reputation for being the best and going all out with your performances. Now you see that with the Tomorrowland DJs too. They're like, they come out big, but you don't have to wait to play at Tomorrowland to come out big. And I had this one student that I taught, and he had his own and I was doing a bit of mobile work too at this point, right, as well, just to kind of pay the bills. But a student came through, and it was when I first started teaching, and he then showed me his kind of setups and some videos, and he was pulling up bars and full lighting and doing everything. And he was just saying he had to take on more work because he was getting so much work, just because he was going above and beyond. That guy was an amazing DJ. Together we worked, and he was already good, but we helped each other too. But anyway, but then what happened was he built this company, and everyone was just lining up to work with him. Now, just a quick tangent, but I remember as a kid, right, I started out in some pretty shitty nightclubs, okay, with really poor production. I was running my events there and stuff, right? But I always had high standards and knew what I wanted. And even though admittedly it wasn't major hassle, but every single week I would take in some extra speakers and lighting. And sure, I would basically keep a lot of that lighting dormant until my set. So people come in, it's just got house lights and just lights moving around. But then when I came on around midnight and the venue was full, what I'd do, like I mentioned, I'd black out the lighting and then build the lighting with my set, and people knew I had arrived as the atmosphere went up a notch. See, so here's the thing. How will people know when you've arrived? Okay. How much are you willing to give this? You can be like everyone else and get caught up in, what gear to buy, Denon or Pioneer, right? Or what music to play, or when you play, just be like everyone else. Or you can put your focus on the end result, and that is people screaming your name and wanting more. And music and DJ gear alone is only a small part of that equation, trust me. Now, I'm just inviting you to think bigger, my friends, and find thoughts that inspire you. Now, when you have ideas that keep you up at night or get you out of bed in the morning, then you know you're on the right path. Now, if you're excited about something or perhaps even a little bit nervous, honestly, I feel it's the world telling you have to go for it. And if you ignore the world may start ignoring you, and that's a very dark place to be in. So you have to get inspired and live a life worth remembering. Don't go half-assed on it, man. We've got to go all out. Talent, DJ, huge production. You've got to be the one. Now, okay, anyway, thanks again for being part of the ever-expanding Club Ready tribe. And if you want, I'll put in a link for my course below. It's going really big. And I'll also, I've got this whole section in the course called the Club Pack, which covers everything you need to know about getting gigs, playing live, and assuring that every show you play is successful. So you get back, asked back every single time. So, and as I mentioned, people are like, oh, there's no club scene to go to, right? But like I'm mentioning, a lot of the DJs that were residents are probably going to fall off, and there's going to be lots of opportunities, actually, I believe, when it does pass. It may be 2 years, but that gives you 1 or 2 years to practice and come out hard. I know some areas, clubs are already starting to operate at a reduced capacity, but they're looking for DJs that are willing to support the scene. So I'll link in a video now about that as well. I talked about opportunities post-COVID, but I ran clubs and did my own events even and everything, and DJ'd for almost 2 decades. So I know what it's like to I know the industry very, very well. And I think that would, what applies here in Sydney, from what my experience from traveling around, it's kind of like a universal thing. But anyway, thanks guys. I love doing these videos. It's kind of fun here. I'm back now in my green screen. Anyway, and my new mic, and my beanie. I should shut up now. Okay, thank you. Namaste.